Is we should all stop supporting Asian-owned businesses, is what I would say if I was fucking stupid.
Have we ever seen an Asian in the soul food spot en masse? Have we ever seen Asians supporting Black American businesses en masse? Let me know. Maybe I'm going crazy.
As much as my heart goes out to the Rick Chow case, you can't blame a whole community for one isolated incident.
Your heart doesn't really go out to what happened because you didn't make a video about what happened. You're making a video about the response to what happened, right? So which means you don't really care about what happened, but going after the response instead of the action.
And for all those that say that they're gonna stop supporting Asian businesses, the clothes on your back probably came from China.
Boy, I started smiling so big when I saw this woke Asian female spit nothing but heat. I just want to say thank you. She hit the nail right on the head.
For all the racist fucks that keep saying they have black fatigue, I think it's time we set the record straight. You don't have black fatigue, you have history fatigue. You're tired of being reminded that black people didn't just participate in the world, they were a huge part in shaping it. Every race and every culture has benefited from the sacrifices that black people have made. The civil rights movement didn't just open doors for black Americans, it expanded freedoms for everyone. And the shameful part is black people hardly if ever get the credit for it. Black people aren't just in music and sports. You guys need to get out more, okay? Black people are doctors, lawyers, pilots, judges, engineers, educators, innovators, and the list goes on. They hold up systems that people rely on daily while pretending that contribution doesn't exist. And no, this isn't pandering. This is lived experience. I grew up in an all-white neighborhood with very few black people and no other Asians. And at that time, the only culture that accepted me without question was the black culture. So when people talk about a world without black people, they expose how very little they understand about the world they already live in. Without black people, you don't get a world with less noise. You get a world with less creativity, less freedom, less culture, and less progress. If that truth exhausts you, it's not fatigue. It's discomfort with knowing how much you benefit from this world without acknowledging the source.
Happy Black History Month.
Being black in America is funny to everybody except us because we actually have to live through all the BS. We've had to live through it and we continue to live through it. And now we have comedians who are finding humor in their racist jokes against us.
My only problem with ICE is that they're going after every minority group except black people. I mean, you're trying to reduce crime. You're just giving them more room to breathe. But I understand, can you imagine the shape you have to be in to deport black people?
Seeing the clothes on our back come from China actually proves our point to let you know that we're not a hateful people. We always supported the Asian community, and if we stop doing it, that's going to be economic destruction for you. So I don't know if that was supposed to be aha, got you moment, because that's not the flex you thought it was.
And I do admit a lot of Asian people are racist. However, not everyone that's Asian is racist.
So you're admitting that a lot of Asian people are racist. So what are we talking about? Now, I'm not saying all, because I have a few that I'm cool with, but what are we talking about?
I think we should be sabotaging Asian-owned businesses, especially since Asian Heritage Month just passed.
How us doing our own group economic is sabotaging Asian businesses? That's what you guys are doing. You guys are doing your own group economics. You have your Chinatown, when you came into our communities, separated and made your own enclave and communities. Is that sabotaging the Black American community? No, it's not. So we're not sabotaging. We're doing our own group economics. What's the issue?
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are doing great wherever you are watching us from. If you thought this story was only about one court case, think again, because what happened afterward has people debating justice, economic power and accountability like never before. Let's dive straight into the video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like and share the video to help the channel out. I'll be back with my commentaries.
We're watching democracy fall in real time. Fighting for your freedom is brutal. It's exhausting. And freedom has never been won from the comfort of a couch. I hope that besides getting on your platform and yelling that we're not coming outside, that you're doing other things to help, like boycotting, mutual aid, grassroots organizing, and you're using your platform to encourage others to do the same thing. But make sure you're doing something and stop acting like your apathy is activism. We are not our ancestors. I used to hate that saying because it's disrespectful, but now I get it because our ancestors were brave. They were built different. And some of y'all are built like your ancestors because a lot of y'all had cowards for ancestors, and it shows.
The 92%, they did their job. You get tired of being everybody's workhorse. And she can talk like this because I rarely see Asian Americans protesting and doing a lot of the stuff she does. And when things go wrong, she can still hide in her privilege, her non-Black privilege. Black women, Democrat or Republican, they're living their lives. If you have the time to do the work, that's in and of itself a form of privilege.
Wait, not you trying to school Black women on how freedom is won, right? Like, they wrote the book. They wrote the damn book on how freedom is won historically. It's ironic your name is Harmony because this has got to be the most tone-deaf take I've ever seen. I mean, there's no couch sitting going on. Like, all across the U.S. right now, Black women are already mobilizing. All of the women that I know, they're already doing the damn thing in their neighborhoods and their communities. They are active. They are doing it. For you to assume that they're not just shows me that you really don't know them. Like, it's in their DNA. That's what they do. They're just not willing to sacrifice their lives to do it. And I don't blame them. I don't want them to. Because frankly, this fight, this challenge that we're seeing right now, we have to do it. White people need to step up. We have to step up.
As an Asian American, I need my community to hear this. Black people are not the problem. The anti-blackness in our community is. Watching some of you tell on yourselves this week has been absolutely embarrassing. Every time anti-blackness becomes part of the conversation, too many of you immediately reach for the same playbook. Deflect, deny, play victim, blame Black people for noticing. The acquittal for Rick Chow happened. People are angry, and they should be. How does a 14-year-old Black boy end up dead and nobody is held criminally responsible? What shocked me even more is watching some Asian Americans spend more time attacking Black people instead of reflecting on why the reaction exists in the first place. What I keep seeing is a community demanding understanding while refusing to practice it, demanding grace while refusing to extend it, demanding support while refusing accountability. Nobody owes us their money. Nobody owes us their loyalty. Nobody owes us their silence. And if Black consumers decide they no longer want to support certain businesses, that is their decision. Many Asian-owned businesses have spent decades building themselves in Black communities, serving Black communities, and benefiting from Black communities. So when people start questioning those relationships, the answer can't be outrage. The answer can't be victimhood. The answer certainly can't be attacking Black people for speaking their minds. What some people seem unable to process is that many Black Americans are not reacting to one verdict alone. They're reacting to years of experience, years of frustration, years of feeling disrespected, profiled, dismissed, and treated like a problem inside spaces where their dollars were always welcomed. A lot of us watched relatives and community members say things about Black people that would make them furious if somebody said the same thing about Asians. What's exhausting is watching the same folks spend more energy attacking Black people than confronting anti-Blackness within our own community. If your first instinct is to get defensive instead of reflective, you're part of the problem. As Asian Americans, we know exactly what it feels like to be stereotyped, excluded, and treated like we don't belong. That history should have taught us empathy. Instead, for some people, it taught entitlement. That's a hard conversation our community keeps avoiding. Black Americans are not responsible for fixing this. We are. And until more of us are willing to say that part out loud, we're going to keep having the same conversation over and over again, while wondering while trust keeps eroding. And that's the read. If you like your tea hot, share it, save your seat, and follow for more. This is the Notorious JTB. Notoriously...
Also, specifically, not supporting Asian businesses is also considered racist.
So if not supporting Asian business considered racist, I haven't seen Asians in mass support Black American business. So what that means? So tell me, what does that mean? In the last 65 years, I haven't seen Black Americans working in Asian businesses. I haven't seen Asians massive support in Black American business. And I definitely didn't see them in no damn soul food spots. So are you saying that they're racist? It sounds like you're telling on yourself. See, the problem is Again, I call it social unity, economic warfare. Socially, it's all love. You might be able to hang out, have fun, go to the bar, whatever. But economically and politically, it's been warfare for the last 65 years, and we're the last to catch up. See, the problem is a lot of y'all are in our communities, right? Extracting out 1.9 to 2.6 trillion dollars. So the moment we say, hold on, we're going to start doing our own group economics, that's economic devastation and destruction for you, and y'all know it. Y'all know it. This is why such a frantic, this is why such a panic, this is why it's being called racism, because all we're saying is that fine, we're going to do what y'all been doing for the last 55 years and doing group economics and keeping the same energy y'all been keeping, right? So the moment we keep the same energy, oh God, you guys are racist. Hold on. Why can't we have self-love? Why can't we do good economics? Why can't we do, y'all been boycotted us for the last 65 years. Y'all boycotted us for the last 65 years. So the moment we boycott back is a problem? That's interesting. Y'all tell me. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Love y'all. Peace, lot, your key.
After that Asian man got away with murdering a black teenager, this other Asian man came on the internet and said that it's impossible for the black community to boycott Asian businesses. And let's just show them that nothing's impossible. Because from now on, I'm not buying anything Asian. If I know any business that is Asian owned or Asian people will get benefit from it, I will not be buying from them. And I hope people make lists of businesses that are Asian owned so we can start boycotting them, because the disrespect to not only get away with murder, but to come on the internet and taunt the black community saying that it's impossible for them to boycott you. Yeah, we're not gonna tolerate that. Or as far as me, I'm joining in the boycotting. Like, I am not going to be buying nothing from Asian business. If I craving sushi, I'm gonna go to the Mexican restaurants who make Mexican sushi, and I'm gonna eat some Mexican sushi. But I'm no longer supporting Asian businesses. You guys suck. And you guys not only suck for like getting away with murder and joining in the white people for this systematic racist system, but you guys are dirtbags to even think that you can come on the internet and taunt black people like that. Like, how fucking dare you? And trust and believe, we will boycott you.
I want to take a moment to say thank you to Donald Trump, not out of praise, but out of truth. Because while you rip through every part of this government, tearing down justice, equality, and fairness under the fake excuse of fighting DEI fraud, what you're really doing is confirming what black folks have been saying for generations. America was built on racism, fueled by fear and sustained by white supremacy. You've exposed it all. The masks are off. The polite racism, the fake allyship, the colorblind lies, it's all gone. Now we see it raw and unfiltered. You're not just targeting policy, you're targeting people. Black people, brown people, marginalized communities. And the wild part, we make up the smallest portion of this country, yet somehow we are the biggest threat to the lie that white supremacy built. That should tell you everything. You're afraid not of violence, not of replacement, but of the power we hold even when we have nothing. You see the way our culture, our brilliance, our resilience, our excellence continues to shape this country, even when it tries to erase us. Donald Trump is just the loudest version of a system that's always been in place. He is the living, breathing proof that this country was never designed with us in mind. And yet, we continue to define it. So thank you, Donald, for exposing what so many tried to deny, for showing the world that the fear of black greatness is real, for proving that racism isn't in our imagination, it's in the fabric of this nation. And to my people, we don't have to fight to prove our worth. He's doing that for us. All we have to do is stand firm, stay awake, and know that the truth is finally louder than the lie. We are not broken. We are not the problem. We are the evidence of the power that this country can contain. Let that truth ring louder than its hate.
The responses I'm seeing to Rick Chow's acquittal and the call to boycott racist Asian businesses really remind me that we are on some bullshit, right? Like, a lot of us have obviously internalized the propaganda, not just of Black criminality, but Asian victimhood and Black criminality being intertwined. This Black on Asian violence trope is nothing but a trope. It is a plot device of white supremacy to pit us against each other that is not actually grounded in how historically we have engaged with each other. And I'm seeing it be used by some Asian Americans on here as a way to center ourselves in this moment of reckoning with how the legal system really does not value Black life. Like, this is not about us, except for how we can take responsibility for each other in our communities around anti-Blackness. On top of that, I notice another response that we see all the time that is maybe not so loud, but just as insidious, and that is indifference, is disassociation, disengagement from racial politics altogether. Indifference is not neutral. Indifference is violent. Disassociating from racial politics and what's going on in this country will not save or protect us. It harms all of us.
A mostly Black apartment building on the South Shore, and they rounded up men, women, and children. They were zip tying children, saying F these kids, okay, taking folks into custody. Now, they kept these people till about 3, 4 in the morning, and they let them go because they can't deport them because they're American born citizens. I mean, Black folks' ancestry goes back to 1619 enslavement. But one of the questions that I found very interesting is that they were asking whether or not a person had a warrant. Now, if a person has an outstanding warrant, they shouldn't be taken into custody by ICE. The Chicago Police Department should be the ones taking them into custody. Because if ICE gets a hold of you, what they're going to do is they're going to make a mistake and deport you to a gulag over in El Salvador, which is what Trump wants to do. He wants to be able to deport Black American-born citizens out of this country, but he can't do it because it's unconstitutional. So they're going to try to make mistakes by ICE going into these cities and rounding Black people up. They're not fooling me, okay? It is quite obvious. So what I've done is I've called the governor's office, Governor Pritzker, and I've also called the mayor's office in Chicago, and I left messages telling them that when these ICE agents are roaming these communities and they are engaged in these mass deportation efforts, the Chicago Police Department should be right there with them, making sure that citizens are being protected, which means that if someone has a warrant, they should be taken into custody by Chicago police, not by ICE, because they're going to try to pull a Cabran Abrego Garcia on you and then snatch you up, send you to El Salvador, Ghana, or one of these gulags and say, oops, we made a mistake. Oops, we don't know how to get them back. You know, it's all part of Donald Trump's plan to deport Black people. He's not fooling anybody. So if you Black and you living in Chicago, if you living in Washington, D.C., just know that if they're asking you about warrants, they're asking you so that they can arrest you and make a mistake by deporting you. And the governors need to do more than stand behind a podium and make speeches about what a nightmare Donald Trump is. We know that. But they should be using every lever of power at their disposal as governors and as mayors to protect the citizens of their country, including people who are undocumented that are being abused by ICE agents. This is getting out of hand. And the only way to fight this mess is to resist it.
What the white supremacist wants is the perfect, agreeable, consumerist slave. You are allowed to work the jobs and get the pennies that we want you to have. You are allowed to spend those pennies on things that we want you to buy. You are allowed to entertain, but do not make any inconvenience for the supremacist. Do not complain about the conditions in which we choose to oppress you. Do not complain about the conditions in which we choose to unalive you. We're supposed to just take it. Why is that? If all whites aren't racist, your actions say otherwise. Because it's funny how you all know, because you couldn't possibly be that slow, you all know what's going on, what has been going on, what has taken place, and what is taking place. You all know, because none of you want to be treated like us in this country. None of you want our experience in this country. If it wasn't for us, you wouldn't have an America. Last time I checked, you had to go kidnap some folks. And by the way, y'all only tell half the story, because I've said this before. The people that y'all say you bought slaves from in Africa were already considered traitors by the entire continent of Africa, were already exiled by the entire continent of Africa. These people were not friends of the continent, much like the sellout today in America, much like the bootlicker today in America, much like the Uncle Ruckuses today in America. You may know them as the house Negro, the ones that you're trying to condition us all to be like. Those exist globally and all throughout time, all throughout history. And this is how you were able to get that transaction of purchasing slaves while also kidnapping slaves, while also forcing this transaction, because let's be realistic and honest here. It's kind of hard to deny a transaction, even if they wanted to, when you got rifles on them and they ain't got nothing but bows and arrows. You making false, deceiving promises.
When white people in the United States balk at the idea of paying reparations to black Americans who descended from slaves, they disagree with the Bible. Reparations are a form of compensation or restitution made to those who have suffered injustice, particularly those in cases of racial inequality, discrimination, and slavery. The idea of paying reparations to black Americans is not a new one. It has been a topic of discussion for decades, if not centuries. However, it has gained renewed attention and support in recent years, following the resurgence of the Black Lives Matter movement and the growing recognition of systemic racism in American society. As a Christian, I believe that reparations are not only a matter of justice and equity, but also a reflection of God's character and values. In the Bible, we see numerous examples of God's concern for the oppressed, the marginalized, and the downtrodden. From the Israelites' liberation from slavery in Egypt to the ministry of Jesus among the poor and the outcast, we see a consistent theme of God's love for those who are on the margins of society. One of the key biblical principles that underlie the idea of reparations is the concept of restitution. In the book of Leviticus, we see God commanding the Israelites to make restitution to those whom they have wronged. Leviticus 6:1-5 says, "If anyone sins and commits a breach of faith against the Lord by deceiving his neighbor in a matter of deposit or security or through robbery, or if he has oppressed his neighbor or has found something lost and lied about it, swearing falsely in any of all the things that people do and sin thereby, if he has sinned and has realized his guilt and will restore what he took by robbery when he got it by oppression or deposit that was committed to him, or the lost thing that he found, or anything about which he has sworn falsely, he shall restore in full and shall add a fifth to it, and give it to him to whom it belongs on the day that he realizes his guilt." This passage emphasizes the importance of making restitution to those who have been wronged, and not just restoring what was taken, but adding to it as a form of compensation. This principle of restitution can be applied to the issue of reparations to black Americans who have suffered centuries of enslavement, discrimination, and systemic oppression. Another biblical principle that supports the idea of reparations is the concept of Jubilee. In Leviticus 25, God commands the Israelites to observe a Jubilee every 50th year, during which all debts are forgiven, all slaves to be set free, and all property to be returned to its original owners. This was a radical idea of economic justice designed to prevent the accumulation of wealth and power in the hands of a few. And
Welcome back, guys. Watching everything unfold is clear that this conversation isn't just about one court case. For many people, it reflects years of frustration over what they see as unequal treatment, inconsistent accountability, and the feeling that some communities are expected to forgive and move on, while others receive immediate support. One of the biggest takeaways from the video is the discussion around economic power. Many of the commentators argue that every community has the right to decide where it spends its money. Their position is that choosing to support businesses that align with your value isn't discrimination, it's consumers' choice. Whether people agree with the strategy or not, spending habits have always been one of the most peaceful ways community express dissatisfaction. The video also highlights the importance of accountability. Several Asian American voices featured in the discussion weren't dismissing the concern being raised. Instead, they encouraged members of their own community to listen rather than becoming defensive. That stood out because meaningful conversations are difficult when every criticism is immediately treated as an attack. Another point raised is how quickly conversation about race can become polarized. Instead of focusing on the circumstances that spark public outrage, many online debaters shift towards blaming entire communities. That kind of thinking rarely solves anything. It often creates more division while distracting from the original issue people wanted addressed. The discussion about deportation claims also show how misinformation and inflammatory rhetoric can escalate tensions. For millions of Black Americans, their families have lived in United States for generations, making suggestions that they somehow don't belong both historically inaccurate and deeply offensive. Statements like this tend to inflame emotion instead of encouraging thoughtful dialogue. Ultimately, this video is less about telling people what to think and more about showing why this conversation continues to resonate. When people lose confidence that institutions will deliver justice, many began to look for other ways to make their voices heard. For some, that means organizing peacefully, speaking out publicly, or making different choices about where they spend their money. Whether viewers agrees with every opinion shared or not, the border message is that accountability, justice and mutual respect remain central of this discussion. Ignoring those concerns rarely make them disappear. Addressing them honestly is far more likely to move the conversation forward. Anyway guys, what do you think about this video? Drop your thoughts in the comment section and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like and share the video to help the channel out. See you in my next video. For now, peace and love.